Visitors. Uh, as I said, I'm only planning to do these like once a week, but as I said, it's one of those weeks where the markets are moving, so you got to watch them a bit more closely. Here's the S&P. So yesterday I was talking about the top patterns, right? Like this little double top, beautiful M, whatever. So look, it's what we've seen had all the hallmarks of that, right? But at the same time, I was saying I'm very conscious of the little island reversal that we've got here and that we had, past tense, there. Now I was saying, although that's looking pretty compelling because of the break, this was looking like it could take precedence, which I was very wary of. And it looks like it's taking precedence at the moment, the way it's come back. If we kind of zoom in a little bit, we can see that it's filled the gap here. This is the software that I'm using. It's a bit crappy, but it has filled the gap in there, which is to be expected. It's filled that gap. I'm still wondering if it's going to fill this gap, but it's going to fill that gap there too. So that's well and truly filled. So it's sort of like that box is ticked now, right? Now, because that box is ticked, it means it really is game on either way, right? Because it's kind of filled this gap here, the market will be free to turn and go back this way or to resume its uptrend. And it is a bit of a line ball at that moment. It's at a pretty critical juncture. So I'm not really sure how to call this one, but I'm out of the S&P for the time being. As I said, I've cleaned out my shorts there. That to me was the first leg. Now, the Elliott wave guys, they'll say if this is a correction, it could be, in a bull trend, right? It could be like an old A, B, C, something like that. It could be something more, complicated, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. You just don't know, right? But one thing they are in agreement of, there is a wave that has happened and is now having a little bit of a correction, which is to be expected. Now, some of the Fibbo guys will say, look, we bang on that 61, which is deep, but that's a deep one, right? Given the sharpness of this move, it's not surprising, right? I mean, it's within the sweet spot of retracements. I don't know how to read that. Whether that is, it's certainly symptomatic of the money that's been on the side and around, for the last year and a half, right? There's still that bid in the market, but it's obviously it's sprung back. It's taken a bit longer than the previous days, the previous times when the seller was in the market. As I said, when the seller was in the market for those trading days, the 17th and 18th. So it's taken a little bit longer to rebound, but it has come back. The big question still is it going to break? I think the next casualty to watch would be there. I'll put that in red. That would be if this is the old, high, low, high, high, low, high, 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 low, blah, 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 lower, low, right? This would be, you can see a bit of a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. That's a very key level. I think if it breaks that, it's off to new highs. If it manages to stay under that, and I'd say this point where it's at now is very critical. I think if it's going to resume a large correction, this is going to be the level that we're at right now, even as we speak. It's a 50. It's had a bit of noise around there. I'm not high conviction enough to go short with a stop up here. If it was here, I'd probably that would be more of a stop. This one I'm a bit less convinced, just because of the strength that has come up to fill that gap. That's the S&P. If we look at our market, the Aussie market, so I'm out of the S&P. Our Aussie market, I think yesterday I had my eye on like a couple of levels, and was saying if it got up to like in this zone here, then I'd be going. Then I was sort of short, which I am, and was thinking, okay, if it goes back up here, do I go again or stop out? I don't know. I've gone again, so I've gone again with a stop. I think it's. I think it's still a compelling sell. Shows a bit more clearly on the futures what's been. Oh no, this is pretty good. You can see how it's gone down. I kind of hit a level. Let's go back to a bit time frame. I'll look at it on the falls. That's really what I trade around. It's come down, hit a level, went off the clock, break, come back, break, come back. So it's come back here to this low here. Here, that leg, it came back to that low there. So to me, it is at a turning point. To me, it's a very good sell here, and that's why I've sold again, doubled up, and we'll run a stop just above here. So this level, that's 73.70 to 7,400. That's a key thing to work out whether it's going to turn back down and resume. I'm not high conviction in this one, but as a trading proposition, I think it's worthwhile having a go at it. One of the reasons why I do have the careful reservations about it is this is what shows up better on the futures. Is you can see this, right? Big long wick, right? Long one there, long one there. This relatively is actually quite a big one. It's a couple of percent. Of course, we're in a bull market. You don't see any long wicks at the top like you do in a good long bear market, right? You see a few like long wicks down here. There's up here, it was very choppy, right? So you got wicks everywhere, right? But really the whole time here, you can't see any sizable long wick apart from that one there, right? Which is kind of wiped out. It's just progress is made on the very next day. There, and there's another one there. These ones, they have reliably been strong turning points. So in our market, as the same as in the US, the lack of follow through means that the jury's a little bit out as far as whether it's going to resume this or come back. And I guess the arguments are it's broken down from a long-term trend, it's had its first leg down, second leg is a pause, third leg will be key. So that the issue is, where is this second leg likely to kind of turn or to watch for? And in both the US and the Aussie markets, we're at that juncture for the second leg down, right? We've had this leg down, this even that turning point of the big bear candle, this, you can call it a doji or whatever, they're all dojis, and then the bull candle, big turning point. And I mean, you can see it, I think you can see it on our market beautifully in the big meltdown on the weekly. I think it showed up really well. See that? That's exactly right. The big bear candle, a big long tail there, and then the action coming back up. Real major tell for a turning point, right? So that's what has me mindful of here in being short. These long wicks here, going down to the daily, the pattern of the 1, 2, 3 there is very, very bullish. but it is at a juncture where it's decisive, both in our market and the US. That's what to watch for. But the good news is the gaps have been filled, which is to be expected. We've ticked that box, and so now the game is open for either way. I'm short the Aussie still, got to stop, and we'll see what happens. In the Aussie dollar, I've squared up that. I squared it up because this move here was quite impulsive on the way down, and it struggled like 3 times. What's going on there? 3 times at this same level, like around about 73.20. Boom, boom, boom. It couldn't get through it, right? And couldn't get through it, and the RSI was getting stronger, and then it broke this trend line, and I was like, right, that's it. I'm out for the time being. I think that there could be, I think the overall trend is still down, but I'm cashing in just that little leg that I've made, and we'll see what happens coming up here. I think there's a better level to get short at with that. As I said, this looks particularly, what's going on here, that does look like a higher high, and that does look like a higher low unfolding. So it could well break this trend, but we'll see. I guess I'll see what happens when it gets up there, which I expect that it will. It's definitely going to go up towards 74 or somewhat closer. Just a little one that I talked about yesterday, also in the Aussie market, in terms of a couple of those levels. Just let me get to it and find them. I did have, if you look like on a smaller time frame, there was this level here, like at 7,300, and then there was this level here at 7,340. And I remember where we were here last night, I said, look, this is a good short level to me. But if it does, and that's where I was short, and I said, but if it does break this, then it's going to 74 in the blink of an eye, which it did. Right? That's like just straight off the bat, like in the morning, it just went boom, straight up. And I said that would be for me a decisive time whether to pull a pin or go again. So I've decided to go again. I do think that it's worth it. I think where the retracement is, it's back on that 61, same as the US. It's a little bit short, right? But that's because of the futures, they kind of rolled off. So there's a bit of a discount there between this point in time and here. For those that are into the discount between the futures and the cash market. So that's those cash markets and the Aussie market. And the last one is the 10-year futures for the bond futures. That's trend is still carrying on that bit of recovery up towards a target that I've got to first sort of around about like 140. So I'm still short the bond futures there. This yield short in terms of price, long in terms of yield. So that's the markets that I've been watching. So that the wrap up really is the gap's been closed here. Right. There is a critical level here, which is bang on one of those retracements, one on back of the 61, right? It's testing there. If it breaks here, it will go there very, very quickly. Again, blink of an eye. Chances of that, reasonable, right? That might be on the 76 as well, something like that. Yeah, at 78.6 retracement, somewhere around there. So to short this one, if it gets there, then I would have a look at maybe shorting, but be pretty careful, because if it breaks there, new highs, that's the US market. Our market, the Aussie, stepping down, it's at this kind of, it's just in this little range here. and where it's stepping down. If it breaks this level, 74, then that would be a bit of a structural improvement to go bullish. I do expect it's gonna turn here lower, notwithstanding the long-legged tails. That's enough from me, and we'll catch you. I probably won't do one tomorrow unless the market moves. I'll probably have an early night and just have some core levels, and then we'll catch you on Monday. Okay, ciao.